Hey guys, Nick here. Welcome to the Omniverse of Nick and part 2 of 3 to the next Walking Dead story. What if Shiva survived? Before we get started, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and check out the About Tab and homepage so you don't miss anything for the Omniverse's future. With all that said, let's begin. We open up where we ended off last time. Shiva is the most hit by Ezekiel's loss, which we are going to touch upon extensively. And Carol and Jerry take up leadership because Morgan's in clear mode and there's no other leader. And like I said, Shiva is taking the loss of Ezekiel to heart because he was the real first one to show her true affection and, have a partner, a friend. And with that loss, it really hurts, especially for a tiger or animal like Shiva. And when everybody tries to get close, for a long time, she just furiously growls at them and even roars from time to time because she doesn't want anyone near her, because she feels like she just lost the only real friend that she had. No matter if she knows the people in the kingdom and these new people or not, it's just too personal a loss for Shiva to handle right now. Meanwhile, Negan and Gabriel escape the walkers from going out of the little den that they were in and use the guts and everything to get away. And Negan reaffirms his status as the leader. Rick and Daryl have their argy-bargy. Rick tries to go convince Jadis and Scavengers to rejoin, and it manages to work. Gregory gets put as a prisoner with the Saviors that were kidnapped, and that goes the same. Carl saves Sadiq, which I'm going to get to Carl here in a minute. Tara feels different about killing Dwight, and Daryl still feels the same. Dwight sees that Eugene is still fiercely loyal to Negan and is still plotting to help Rick. The Saviors manage to divert the walkers away from the sanctuary and get their stuff, and Rick and the Scavengers figure this out, which allows the Saviors, with Negan and our group at Alexandria, to strike, and then Gavin and the Saviors to strike at Kingdom. But we saw how Gavin got whenever Benjamin died, and that he was never supposed to be the one. And the fact that they were going to kill Ezekiel, that shows that Ezekiel being shown and heard to die here really is a different turn. And on one hand, Gavin should just tell the Saviors and everything that they could just go, because there's no reason to stay here now if the leader's gone. But he wants to make sure that the kingdom's affinity and loyalty is actually turned at the Saviors permanently. Even without a leader, they could still revolt, especially. So he tells them all to submit and kneel. Otherwise, Ezekiel dying will be the least of their problems. And he is the most hurt by this because he never wanted Ezekiel dead. Didn't have to be this way. Simon apprehends Maggie and everyone going to Hilltop. Natanya dies by Enid and Aaron trying to get Oceanside back on their side. Dr. Carson and Gabriel escape, and Carl still dies from the walker bite. Because yes, Shiva did save Carl, and I could reroute that to Shiva actually saving Carl from the bite, but considering Shiva's much different character persona because of Negan and Ezekiel dying, that means that I can't just spawn her in randomly, especially from what she's going through. It's basically like Ezekiel whenever he lost everything. It's especially with Ezekiel dying and Shiva, basically him being her master and best friend. I can't spare Carl in this story. So unfortunately, Carl Grimes still dies. Can't win in everyone. Carol and Morgan revolt and go and kill all the Saviors, putting Gavin on the back foot. But it's not Henry or Morgan that kills him this time in the story, or just someone random. Shiva pounces furiously at Gavin, throwing him to the ground and ferociously biting his face, worse than the saviors she had killed before. And yeah, if it wasn't obvious, Gavin's dead. And Henry is not going to get the kill this time and feels even less like he did something to avenge his brother. But Shiva, she is feeling even more bent up with rage after doing this to Gavin, and is looking to kill more by finishing the man who caused all this in the first place, and finishing what she started back at Alexandria. Shiva is basically mad with rage, and this kill would intensify it. Especially because animalistic instincts and everything like that. So, like I said, this is hitting Shiva the most. Aaron and Enid manage to convince Oceanside to join him. Simon begins to revolt against Negan, the first of which being killing all the scavengers. I mean, there were cases before, but you get the point. Rick and Michonne find out about it once they get to the junkyard, and Simon realizes that Dwight is like, I don't think he would be on the case of not going against Negan. He would still go against Negan. So we would still have the hilltop attack and Simon planning that and everything. So yeah. Eugene crafts the bullets, and Negan tries to use the walker trick with the guts and the blood and his bat and everything like that. Gabriel and Dr. Carson. Gabriel gets the blindness from the guts, and Dr. Carson dies. Then we get the whole side quest with Georgie and the twins. Just, I don't really need to explain anything there. Rick has his second duel with Negan in the building and shoots him, basically causing him to put him in this fight. And Rick uses Glenn's lighter to burn Lucille and fight him. Negan manages to escape. The hilltop attack with the walkers happens just the same. And Jadis kidnaps Negan, but eventually lets him go. Rick meets up with Morgan, and they kill the saviors who tried to escape. Rosita and Daryl apprehend Eugene, but he manages to escape. Carol goes to look for Henry, but Shiva being there manages to find Henry way sooner than he was found in canon by like an episode or two. So Henry's found. And yeah, that was pretty much just a Sophia callback, if anything. So really not worth talking about. It's just Shiva's there to help find him sooner. Simon is killed trying to prove himself the man of the saviors, and Dwight is put on restraint after figuring out he was turning traitor. Rick, Michonne, every one of the communities gathers for an all-out war and leads to Rick and Negan's final duel. But Shiva sees this and sees Negan and Rick fighting from down on the hillside, and her animalistic primal instinct rage cuts in even more so, Ezekiel's death flashing before her eyes, and she lunges forward, pouncing furiously at Negan, who's completely taken aback by this, much more so than whenever Shiva rushed at him in, like, back at Alexandria. But this time, Negan is not so lucky. Shiva goes directly at him, and more so than the other saviors and Gavin, she bites ferociously and just rips apart his face, his neck, everything, even downwards. This is primal ferocity right here. And Rick was not expecting this. And as much of him wanted to follow through with Carl's vision, it's not like he could have stopped Shiva. And he understands why she's doing this. Those animal instincts are kicking in at full gear, and this is all to do with Ezekiel. And there is blood, carnage, and so much just violence everywhere that it's honestly disturbing. And when Shiva looks back up, a furious primal expression is over her face, and her face and body is covered with blood. And what's left of Negan's like head and everything, it would basically be gone. I think Shiva would have literally gone so bad with tearing Negan apart that his whole head would have basically been ripped off, if not almost every other part of his body. Mainly the head and like the upper body, though. Point is, it is very graphic, very bloody, and very, very dark. And Rick looks to everybody who has watched this, and he says, although I would have said that I wanted to kill Negan myself, looks like we found ourselves another situation. Situation with someone, a very good partner that King Ezekiel loved. Shiva the tiger is responsible for our salvation, and the reason why Negan's way of doing things is now over. Carl's vision, my son Carl's vision, did not get to come to pass, and it took me so long to want to do that even close. But now there is no need, because it is not by my hand, it is not by any of ours, that the Saviors as well as Negan have paid the price today. It is because of the ultimate ally that we have, thanks to one of the greatest leaders, King Ezekiel. If it were not for him, we would not have Shiva the tiger here today. So, we are not only going to remember King Ezekiel, my son Carl, and everyone that Negan and the Saviors took from us, but I think that Shiva here deserves more recognition than any of us. Violent animal rage or not, she has officially saved us and brought an end to this war once and for all. Now it is time for us to look forward and plan ahead and move ahead, whatever might come at us. And I think we already have a big idea on what's coming. And there's no one better to help us in that journey than the tiger you see before you now. And with Shiva being praised and loved because of this feat, I think this would actually quell her rage, and she would actually feel a sense of accomplishment, tiger or animal or not. Negan's dead. Gavin's dead. All the Saviors she killed. I think that while Shiva is always going to be a darker, tiger and animal now because of Ezekiel's death, this would give her an ultimate sense of accomplishment. And now everyone looks at her as the greatest ally that they could ever ask for, someone that they must guard and protect with their lives, especially heading towards the next and final part and what might lie ahead for Shiva's